You have been asking other people questions whose answers have already been moving quietly inside you. You have asked what they think. You have watched their faces while you spoke. You have listened for hesitation in their voices. You have read short replies twice, then a third time, trying to discover whether someone else's certainty could become your own. You may have opened your phone with no new message waiting, closed it, and opened it again a few minutes later. Not because you were careless, not because you were weak. You were hoping that something outside you would change enough to make the next step feel safe. You may have replayed a conversation after it ended. You changed your words in your mind. You imagined a better answer, a calmer answer, an answer that would have made the other person understand you without requiring you to stand firmly in what you felt. You may have wondered whether you said too much. Then you wondered whether you said too little. You may have decided to wait before sending the message, making the choice, asking the question, setting the limit, or admitting what you already knew. There is one place you have not thought to examine. It is not hidden because you failed to look hard enough. It is not being kept from you by life. It is not a reward that appears only after you become more disciplined, more spiritual, more impressive, or easier for other people to approve of. It has been close through every uncertain season, so close that the mind, trained to search far away, keeps passing over it. We will come to that place later. For now, there is nothing you must solve. This is not an order to make a brave decision before you feel ready. It is not a test of whether you can become confident in one sitting. You do not need to prove that you trust yourself. You do not need to force a clear answer out of a tired mind. You do not need. And to turn these words into a new standard, you can fail. Let your efforts soften for a moment. You have spent enough time treating your inner life like a problem that must be corrected before you are permitted to move. You have tried to think the right thought, choose the right tone, predict the right reaction, and prepare for every possible misunderstanding. Even rest can become another responsibility when you believe you must use it to become better by tomorrow. Nothing is required of you here. You can listen without agreeing with every sentence. You can let some words pass by. You can feel uncertain and still be welcome in this moment. You can have a question that remains unanswered. You can have two feelings at once. You can want to move and want to be held where you are. You can know that something is over and still miss it. You can sense what is right and still feel frightened by what it may change. Self-trust is not the absence of conflict. It is not a life in which every inner voice speaks at the same volume. It is not a perfect calm that arrives before every choice. It is not a guarantee that you will never reconsider, apologize, adjust, or ask for help. It is not a promise that every decision will lead where you hoped. Self-trust begins much more quietly. It begins when you stop treating your own experience as the least reliable piece of information in the room. You know the habit. Someone asks what you want, and you answer with what would be easiest for everyone else. Someone crosses a line, and before you name the hurt, you begin building their defense. You explain their stress, their childhood, their workload, their confusion, their fear of closeness, their difficulty communicating. You create a complete story for why they did what they did, while the part of you that was wounded waits at the edge of the conversation for one honest sentence. That hurt me. I did not like that. I need something different. I am not available for this. These sentences can feel heavier than long explanations because they do not hide you. They do not place your truth behind a wall of reasons. They do not ask permission before existing. When you have learned that safety comes from being agreeable, a simple truth can feel like a dangerous act. So you add more words. You say, I completely understand, before saying what you need. You say, I am probably overthinking, before naming what your body has been signaling for weeks. You say, it is not a big deal, and then carry the deal through the rest of the day. You say, I do not want to be difficult, as though difficulty lives inside the person who speaks rather than inside the situation that made speaking necessary. You may smile while saying something painful because you are trying to protect the listener from the weight of your honesty. You may laugh after setting a boundary so they will not mistake your limit for rejection. You may offer 3 ways for them to ignore what you just asked. You may end your sentence with, but it is fine, when it is not fine, then feel confused about why no one seems to understand. At times you have been waiting for other people to hear what you keep translating into silence. This does not mean you are dishonest. It means you became skilled at surviving emotional rooms where direct truth had a cost. You learned to sense changes in tone. You learned to measure pauses. You learned to notice who was disappointed before you checked whether you were disappointed. You learned that a raised eyebrow could change your whole answer. You learned to revise yourself quickly. That skill may have protected connection once. It may have helped you avoid conflict when conflict did not feel safe. It may have helped you stay close to someone whose approval mattered deeply. It may have helped you move through a home, a relationship, a classroom, a workplace, or a community where being accepted depended on how little trouble you caused. The mind remembers what once kept you included. Even after the old room is gone, some part of you may still scan the faces around you before speaking. Even when no one is demanding an explanation, you may prepare one. Even when a choice belongs entirely to you, you may imagine a panel of invisible judges leaning over it. You may hear old voices asking whether you are sure, whether you have thought this through, whether you are being selfish, whether you will regret it, whether you are disappointing someone. The body can react before the present moment has had a chance to prove that it is different. Your throat tightens, your chest becomes busy, your stomach pulls inward, your hands reach for the phone. You begin gathering opinions. You search for stories about people who made a similar choice. You compare their lives with yours, forgetting that you cannot see the private cost of anyone else's path. You call it research. Sometimes it is research. Good information matters. Wise counsel matters. Support matters. There are decisions that deserve careful thought, trusted guidance, and time. But sometimes the searching is not helping you understand the choice. Sometimes it is helping you postpone the feeling of choosing. You keep collecting advice because every new opinion gives you a few more minutes before you must hear your own. One person says go, another says wait. One person says forgive, another says leave. One person says take the opportunity, another says protect what you have. Soon you are not clearer. You are carrying a crowd. Then you blame yourself for feeling confused. You say that you should know by now. You say that other people seem more decisive. You remember the times you chose badly, but you forget the choices you made with courage. You remember the door you opened that brought pain, but you forget the limit you set that brought peace. You remember the person you trusted who disappointed you, but you forget the moment your inner voice warned you and you were taught not to listen. This is the part few people say plainly. A painful outcome does not prove that you cannot trust yourself. You can make a sincere choice with the understanding you had and still meet an outcome you did not want. You can listen inwardly and still discover new information later. You can take a healthy risk and feel grief. You can leave what harms you and still feel lonely. You can choose love and still be disappointed. You can choose caution and still wonder what might have happened. Self-trust does not control every result. It changes the relationship you have with yourself while the result unfolds. Without self-trust, every unexpected turn becomes evidence against you. You tell yourself you should have known. You cross-examine the person you were. You use today's information to punish yesterday's decision. You speak to your past self as though they had access to facts that had not yet appeared. With self-trust, you can say, I made the best choice I could from what I understood. I can learn without humiliating myself. I can change direction without calling myself a failure. I can repair what needs repair. I can ask for help. I can begin again. There is dignity in revision. Changing your mind is not always proof that you never knew yourself. Sometimes changing your mind is what knowing yourself looks like after new truth arrives. A living person is permitted to update a choice. A growing person is permitted to outgrow an agreement. A healing person is permitted to recognize that what once felt bearable no longer does. Yet you may have been taught that consistency matters more than truth. You may have stayed with decisions long after they stopped fitting because you did not want anyone to say, I told you so. You may have continued giving energy to a plan because you announced it publicly. You may have remained in conversations that emptied you because leaving would require an explanation. You may have kept wearing an identity that other people recognized, even while you felt yourself disappearing inside it. There are days when the fear of being seen as uncertain is stronger than the desire to be honest, so you perform certainty. You say you are fine. You say you do not care. You say you are busy. You say it worked out for the best before you have let yourself feel what was lost. You give polished answers because unfinished truth makes other people uncomfortable. You become the calm one, the capable one, the understanding one, the person who needs very little. Then, when you are alone, the questions return. Was that really what I wanted? Why did I agree so quickly? Why am I tired after every conversation with them? Why do I feel relief when plans are canceled? Why do I keep hoping someone will give me permission to stop? Why does the thought of saying yes make my body heavy? Why does the thought of saying no bring fear and space at the same time? These questions are not accusations. They are openings. Your inner life has been speaking in more than words. It has spoken through relief, through tension, through the sudden quiet that comes when you imagine telling the truth, through the fatigue that follows another performance, through the energy that returns when you consider a path you had dismissed as unrealistic, selfish, late, or strange. The body is not a perfect fortune teller. Fear can speak through the body. Old pain can speak through the body. Stress can make safe things feel threatening. This is why self-trust is not the same as obeying every reaction without reflection. Self-trust is the willingness to include yourself in the conversation. You listen to the fear without making it the ruler. You listen to the longing without making it a command. You listen to facts. You listen to patterns. You listen to people who have earned your trust. You listen to the part of you that has lived every hour of your life, not as the only voice, but as a voice that belongs at the table. For a long time, you may have placed yourself outside that room. You gathered evidence from everyone except the person who would live with the choice. You asked, what would they think? You asked, what would keep the peace? You asked, what would make me look responsible? You asked, what would prove that I am not giving up? You asked, what would a stronger person do? You asked, what would the version of me who never disappoints anyone choose? But the question beneath those questions was often much simpler. What do I know when I stop trying to be approved of? That question can feel frightening because it removes the audience, it removes the performance, it brings you close to the quiet place where no one else can decide what honesty costs you and what dishonesty costs you. You may not have a full answer. You may have only a slight turning, a sense of expansion around one possibility, a small resistance to another. You may have a sentence that keeps returning. You may have a truth you cannot yet act on, but can no longer pretend not to know. That is still information. You do not need a thunderous sign. You do not need to become a different person overnight. You do not need absolute confidence before making one respectful move toward yourself. Confidence often comes after you witness yourself taking your own experience seriously. This is where many people become impatient. They want trust to arrive as a feeling first. They imagine that one morning they will wake without doubt, hear a perfect answer, and move forward untouched by fear. They wait for the day when the choice no longer risks loss, misunderstanding, or change. But a life with no risk of misunderstanding is often a life shaped by constant self-erasure. There is no sentence that guarantees everyone will interpret you kindly. There is no boundary that prevents every disappointed reaction. There is no honest choice that protects you from all grief. There is no way to become fully visible while controlling what every person sees. You have tried to control those reactions because belonging mattered. Of course it mattered. Human beings need connection. We need to be seen, supported, and cared for. There is no shame in wanting harmony. There is no wisdom in pretending that other people never matter. Self-trust is not a lonely kingdom where you reject every opinion and call it power. It is the ability to remain present with your own knowing while connection is being negotiated. You can love someone and disagree with them. You can value advice and choose differently. You can understand someone's pain and refuse their behavior. You can appreciate what a place gave you and know it is time to leave. You can be grateful for an opportunity and decide it is not yours. You can forgive without reopening access. You can miss someone without returning to the pattern. You can be afraid and still tell the truth slowly. There is room for complexity. You do not have to make another person entirely wrong in order to honor what is right for you. You do not have to gather a case so strong that no one can question your choice. You do not have to turn your pain into a courtroom presentation. You are permitted to respond to the effect something has on your life, even when the other person's intention was different. You may have spent years trying to prove impact through intention. You told yourself they did not mean it. You told yourself they were doing their best. You told yourself that everyone makes mistakes. All of that may be true. It can also be true that the pattern is hurting you. Truth does not become cruel because it contains more than one fact. They may love you, and the relationship may still be unhealthy for you. They may be struggling, and you may still need distance. They may not understand, and your need may still be real. You may have made mistakes, and you may still deserve respect. You may be uncertain, and you may still take one careful step. A trusted life is not built by waiting until every contradiction disappears. It is built by learning that you can hold more than one truth without abandoning the one that belongs to you. Think of how often you have asked for a sign after receiving a quiet answer. You felt the first no, then negotiated with it. You felt the first yes, then searched for danger. You sensed that a conversation needed to happen, then waited for the perfect opening. You knew you needed rest, then demanded productivity. You knew the pace was harming you, then compared yourself with someone who appeared to be carrying more. The first answer was not always complete. It did not always contain a plan, but it was often honest. Then the mind arrived with its folders. It brought every past mistake, every warning, every person who doubted you, every story of someone who tried and failed, every imagined future in which you are blamed. The mind was not trying to ruin your life. It was trying to protect you from pain by preventing movement. A protecting mind can become an exhausting guide. It points to every hazard and calls that wisdom. It asks for certainty that life cannot provide. It confuses familiarity with safety. It would rather keep you in a known discomfort than risk an unknown freedom. This does not make the mind your enemy. The mind learned to protect you because at some point protection was needed. It remembers the embarrassment of choosing publicly and being wrong. It remembers the heartbreak of trusting someone who hid the truth. It remembers being told that your feelings were dramatic, your needs were too much, your hopes were unrealistic, your memory was incorrect, your boundaries were unkind. It remembers the moment you spoke and were punished with silence. It remembers the moment you said no and someone withdrew love. It remembers the moment you said yes and later wished you had not. It remembers the room in which everyone seemed certain except you. So now it tries to prevent a repetition. Before you speak, it writes every possible response. Before you choose, it imagines regret. Before you rest, it lists what may go wrong. Before you trust, it asks for a guarantee. You have mistaken this vigilance for a personal flaw. You have called yourself indecisive, weak, needy, too sensitive, too dependent, too slow. You have watched other people move quickly and assumed speed meant self-trust. Speed is not always trust. Some people decide quickly because they cannot tolerate uncertainty. Some people speak loudly because silence brings them close to themselves. Some people refuse advice because receiving it feels vulnerable. What looks like confidence from the outside may be another kind of protection. Your pace is not proof against you. You may need time. You may need facts. You may need to talk with someone safe. You may need to write the choice down and read it the next day. You may need to feel the grief inside the decision before the decision becomes clear. Taking time can be an act of trust when the time is used to hear yourself. Taking time becomes avoidance when each day is used to move farther from what you already know. Only you can begin to sense the difference, and you do not have to sense it perfectly. Ask what the waiting is doing. Is it giving you information? Is it helping your nervous system settle enough to think clearly? Is it creating space for a practical need to be met? Or is it keeping you in the same circle, asking the same people the same question, hoping that repetition will remove the cost of being honest? The cost may not disappear. This is where tenderness matters. You do not shame yourself into courage. You do not insult the frightened part and expect it to lead you somewhere new. You do not call yourself foolish for wanting reassurance. You do not rip away every support and name that independence. You begin by saying, "I see why I learned to doubt myself." That sentence changes the ground. It turns self-doubt from a defect into a history. It shows you that the habit came from somewhere. Habits that were learned can be met, understood, and changed, not through force, through repeated experiences of listening inwardly and discovering that you remain with yourself afterward. You may have had people who trained you to distrust your own memory. They denied what they said. They changed the meaning after the harm was named. They told you that you were imagining the two knee, exaggerating the pattern, misunderstanding the promise, or creating a problem. Over time, you began bringing every experience to an internal trial. Did that really happen? Was it really that bad? Am I being unfair? Would someone else be hurt by this? Do I have enough evidence? You learned to require proof for pain that your body had already registered. This kind of doubt can continue even when the old person is no longer present. Their questions become your questions. Their dismissal becomes your delay. Their version of you becomes the voice you consult before your own. My dear, that voice may sound familiar, but familiarity is not the same as truth. There are also quieter ways self-doubt is taught. A family may love you and still make every choice for you. A community may care about you and still reward obedience more than discernment. A teacher may want you to succeed and still teach you that one answer is always correct. A relationship may feel close and still leave little room for separate desires. You may have been praised for being easy to guide, easy to please, easy to depend on, easy to speak for. Perhaps you became so skilled at anticipating expectations that you stopped hearing desire until it became exhaustion. Then when someone asks what you want, the question feels enormous. You can choose for others quickly. You know what they like, what they avoid, what makes them comfortable, what they can afford, what time works for them, what they may take personally. You carry these details without effort, but your own preference arrives faintly. It has been interrupted so often that it no longer expects to finish a sentence. This is not your fault. The part of you that learned to scan outward was trying to keep you connected. It was trying to prevent rejection, criticism, conflict, and shame. It became fast because fast protection was useful. It became attentive because attention reduced surprise. It became accommodating because accommodation sometimes kept the room calm. Thank that part for how hard it worked. Do not hand it every future decision. Protection deserves compassion, not permanent leadership. There is another part of you beneath the rehearsing, explaining, checking, and comparing. It has not disappeared. It may be quiet because quiet was safer. It may speak through relief before it speaks through language. It may become clear only after you stop asking the crowd. You do not have to drag it forward. You can create the conditions in which it no longer has to hide. For now, begin with one honest observation, not a life plan, not a final answer, not a promise about who you will become. Only this: where do you feel yourself leaving your own experience in order to manage someone else's reaction? You may think of a conversation, a choice, a relationship, a role, a promise you keep renewing after it has expired inside you. Do not solve it yet. See it. Seeing without immediately correcting is a form of kindness. It tells the nervous system that truth can appear without becoming an emergency. It tells the mind that awareness does not always lead to punishment. It tells the quiet voice that it can come closer. There is one place you have not thought to examine, and every honest observation brings you nearer to it. You have searched ahead. You have searched behind. You have searched in the faces of people you love and the opinions of people who barely know you. You have searched in old mistakes, imagined futures, signs, delays, and repeated questions. Soon, you will understand why the searching itself has felt like distance. Before that becomes clear, there is one more truth to meet. You were not born doubting every step. There was a time when you reached without asking whether reaching was permitted. You turned toward what interested you. You moved away from what frightened you. You cried when something hurt. You rested when you were tired. You laughed before checking whether the room approved of the sound. Your earliest responses were not polished, but they were honest. Then the world began teaching you which responses brought closeness and which ones created distance. You learned that some feelings were welcomed and others made people uncomfortable. Happiness was easy to receive when it arrived at the right time. Gratitude was praised. Cooperation was rewarded. But anger, disappointment, refusal, grief, confusion, and need may have been harder for the people around you to hold. No one had to say, "Do not trust yourself." The lesson could arrive through a sigh, through a face that changed when you spoke, through affection that became colder after you disagreed, through praise when you ignored your own limits, through being called mature when you carried what was too heavy, through being called sensitive when you reacted to what was painful, through being told that good people forgive quickly, strong people do not complain, grateful people do not ask for more, and loving people always understand. You may have accepted these ideas because you needed connection more than you needed perfect honesty. A child cannot always choose authenticity over belonging. A young person often adapts to the emotional climate around them because adaptation feels like survival. This was intelligence. It was not weakness. You became a careful reader of other people. You studied their weather without using the sky. You could feel a change before anyone named it. You knew when to become quieter. You knew when to offer help. You knew when a topic was no longer safe. You knew how to make yourself useful after tension entered the room. You may have become the peacekeeper, the one who translated everyone's feelings, the one who understood both sides, the one who could be counted on, the one who did not make things harder. People may still praise these qualities in you. Your care is real. Your empathy is real. Your ability to consider more than one perspective is a gift. But a gift can become a hiding place when it is used to avoid your own truth. You understand everyone else so completely that you become a mystery to yourself. You explain their silence, but cannot name your loneliness. You defend their inconsistency, but question your need for reliability. You recognize their fear, but dismiss your exhaustion. You know what they meant, what they intended, what they were going through, what they could not give, and why they became distant. Then someone asks what happened to you, and you say, I do not know. You do know pieces of it. You know how your chest felt when the promise changed again. You know how long you stared at the message before answering. You know how quickly you began softening your words. You know the relief you felt when you imagined no longer carrying the relationship alone. You know the sadness that appeared beside the relief. Both feelings belong. Relief does not erase love. Sadness does not mean you should return. Missing someone does not prove that access is healthy. Fear does not automatically mean a choice is wrong. Peace does not always arrive as happiness. Sometimes peace first appears as the absence of a pressure you had grown used to carrying. You may not recognize it at once. After living with noise, quiet can feel empty. After living with uncertainty, consistency can feel unfamiliar. After proving your worth through effort, being cared for without struggle can make you suspicious. The nervous system often calls the familiar safe, even when the familiar was painful. This is why you may return to the same type of conversation, the same emotional distance, the same promises without action, or the same role in which you must earn what should be mutual. You are not choosing pain because you want pain. You are choosing what your body recognizes. Recognition is powerful. It can make an old pattern feel like destiny. It can make a new experience feel wrong only because it has no history inside you yet. A person who grew up guessing what others needed may feel selfish when asked to name a preference. A person who was loved most while helping may feel useless when resting. A person who was punished for saying no may feel guilty even when the no is necessary. A person who survived through control may feel unsafe when life asks for flexibility. A person who was repeatedly dismissed may require impossible levels of proof before believing their own pain. These reactions do not reveal a broken character. They reveal training. Training can be changed through practice, but the practice must not become another punishment. You do not rebuild self-trust by demanding that you never hesitate again. You rebuild it by responding differently when hesitation arrives. Instead of saying, "Why am I like this?" you can ask, "What is this hesitation trying to protect?" Instead of saying, "I should already know," you can ask, "What information is still missing?" Instead of saying, "I am too weak to decide," you can ask, "What part of this choice feels unsafe?" Instead of saying, "Everyone else knows better," you can ask, "Who will live with the result?" Questions can open or imprison. You know the imprisoning kind. What if I regret it? What if they leave? What if I fail? What if everyone sees that I was wrong? What if this was my only chance? What if I cannot handle what comes next? The mind asks these questions as though fear is evidence. It rarely asks the questions that return you to yourself. What if staying costs more than changing? What if discomfort is not the same as danger? What if another person's disappointment is survivable? What if the next step does not require the whole answer? What if you can change direction later? What if you are more capable of meeting life than your fear has been permitted to believe? You do not need to answer all of these now. Let them make a little room. A life can become very narrow when every choice must prevent regret. Regret cannot be fully prevented because no path reveals the life you would have lived on every other path. You can look back and imagine a better outcome, but imagination does not include the difficulties that alternate life would have contained. The unchosen road is easy to idealize. It has no bills, no misunderstandings, no lonely mornings, no unexpected losses. It exists only as possibility, so the mind edits out its cost. Then you compare your real life with all its complexity to an imagined life with none. No real choice can win that comparison. You may have used this comparison to punish yourself. You chose one relationship and imagined the perfect person you might have met. You accepted one opportunity and imagined the success waiting elsewhere. You left and imagined that staying would have transformed everything. You stayed and imagined that leaving would have made you instantly free. The mind wants a clean answer after the fact. Life is rarely clean in that way. Some choices contain both wisdom and grief. Some endings are necessary and painful. Some beginnings are right and frightening. Some delays protect you. Some delays diminish you. Some people love you and cannot meet you. Some places are good and no longer yours. Some dreams are true and still require revision. Self-trust grows when you stop demanding that truth arrive without complexity. You can make space for grief without turning grief into a reversal. You can feel uncertainty without making uncertainty your authority. You can seek counsel without giving away authorship. You can learn from the past without living on trial. For years, you may have believed that trust meant being sure. It does not. Trust is how you respond when certainty is unavailable. You may never know in advance whether the conversation will go well. You may never receive proof that everyone will understand. You may never be shown every turn before you begin. This has been the hidden D, mourned beneath your waiting. Show me the entire route, and then I will take the first step. Give me the ending, and then I will begin. Promise me that no one will be hurt, and then I will speak. Prove that I will not fail, and then I will try. Guarantee that I will not be lonely, and then I will leave what is wrong for me. Life cannot sign that promise. So the mind keeps you near the beginning, calling the delay preparation. You collect more advice. You make another list. You search for one more sign. You ask someone who has never lived your life to tell you where it should go. You may even feel calm for a few hours after someone gives you an answer. Their certainty becomes a temporary shelter. But when you are alone again, the question returns because borrowed certainty cannot settle a choice that belongs to you. There is nothing wrong with asking for perspective. Wise perspective can reveal what fear has hidden. A trusted person can point out a pattern, offer practical knowledge, or help you separate urgency from truth. The problem begins when advice is used to replace your participation. Someone can help you read the conditions. They cannot feel your life from inside it. Someone can describe the road they took. They cannot know exactly how your feet will meet it. This is where the image begins. Imagine that you have been carrying a map for a very long time. It is folded along old lines. The edges are worn from being opened and closed. There are roads marked across it, some bold and direct, others thin and uncertain. There are names written in the margins. Instructions from people who wanted to help. Warnings from people who were afraid. Promises from people who loved you. Rules from people who believed their road was the only safe one. Some marks were placed there before you were old enough to question them. One says, "Do not go too far." Another says, "Be useful." Another says, "Choose what looks secure." Another says, "Do not upset anyone." Another says, "You must finish what you started." Another says, "You are not the kind of person who takes that road." Some instructions are so old that you no longer remember who wrote them. You assume they are part of the map itself. They are not. They are handwriting. They are interpretations. They are fear preserved as direction. There may also be beautiful notes. Take your time. Ask for support here. Rest before the steep part. Do not confuse struggle with worth. Turn back when the path becomes harmful. Your life belongs to you. The map carries both wisdom and fear because it has passed through many hands. You hold it open and search for the X, the mark that says, "You are here." You look near the roads you have already traveled. You look near the destination you think you should have reached by now. You look beside the lives of people your age. You look near the places where family expected you to arrive. You look around the achievements that were supposed to make you feel certain. No X. You begin to believe this is the problem. If only you knew exactly where you were, then you could choose correctly. If only someone would point to the location, then you could stop wasting time. If only the map contained one unmistakable mark, you would finally trust the route. So you ask other people to look. One person points toward duty, one points toward comfort, one points toward ambition, one points toward sacrifice, one points toward the road they wish they had taken. Each person sees your map through the shape of their own journey. They may care about you deeply. They may offer the best guidance they have, but no one looks at your map without bringing their own history. The person who regrets taking risks may urge caution. The person who regrets waiting may urge speed. The person who survived instability may treat security as the highest good. The person who felt trapped by security may tell you freedom matters more than anything. Their advice reveals something real. It may not reveal what is real for you. You keep turning the map. Perhaps the X is hidden beneath a fold. You flatten the paper. You smooth every crease. You inspect the corners. You hold it closer to the light. You become frustrated with yourself for not seeing what everyone else appears to find so easily. You tell yourself that other people have clearer maps. They do not. Some move without certainty and call it certainty afterward. Some choose a road because it is the road in front of them. Some follow the crowd and later create a story about destiny. Some are lost, but walk quickly enough that no one can tell. Movement alone is not proof of direction. Stillness alone is not proof of confusion. The question is not whether you are moving. The question is whether the movement belongs to you. You can spend years traveling efficiently toward a life you never chose. You can become excellent at meeting expectations. You can reach every approved destination and still feel strangely absent when you arrive. This absence is difficult to explain because the life may look good from the outside. It may contain respectable work, familiar routines, relationships others admire, responsibilities you fulfill, and goals you once thought would be enough. Yet some mornings you feel as though you have awakened inside someone else's plan. Nothing is obviously wrong, but nothing feels fully inhabited. You perform your life instead of standing inside it. This does not mean you must destroy everything and begin again. Dramatic change is not always the truest change. Sometimes self-trust returns through small acts of authorship. You choose the time instead of automatically adjusting. You say what food you prefer. You decline without inventing an illness. You admit that the joke hurt. You take one evening for yourself. You stop asking someone to become what they repeatedly show they cannot be. You apply. You pause. You ask for clarification. You keep the promise you made privately. You leave the message unanswered until you have something honest to say. These actions can look small to the world. To a person who has lived through constant self-abandonment, they are changes in direction. The map does not need to be torn apart. It needs to be read with your own eyes. Begin by noticing whose handwriting you treat as law. When you say, "I have to," who first taught you that? When you say, "People like me cannot," whose fear are you repeating? When you say, "It is too late," what imagined schedule are you obeying? When you say, "I should be grateful," are you using gratitude to silence a need? When you say, "I cannot disappoint them," have you included the disappointment of leaving yourself unseen? These questions do not require blame. The people who gave you directions may have been trying to protect you. They may have offered the map that helped them survive. They may not have known another road existed. They may have believed safety meant sameness. You can honor what they tried to give without living every instruction. Love does not require permanent obedience. Gratitude does not require self-erasure. Understanding the past does not mean repeating it. A map is useful because it shows possibilities. It becomes harmful when it is treated as a command. Some routes on your map may no longer exist. Some roads may have been built since it was drawn. Some places that once felt unreachable may now be near. Some destinations may have lost their meaning. A living journey requires more than an old document. It requires contact with where you are. This is the part you have been missing. You have been searching the map for your location while ignoring the evidence of your own feet. Where are you tired? Where do you feel pulled? Where have you stopped? What are you standing beside? What have you already crossed? What are you no longer willing to carry? The answer to "Where am I?" is not found only in thought. It is found in the truth of your present life. You are where your body wakes. You are where your responsibilities meet you. You are where the current choice lives. You are where the pattern repeats. You are where the relief appears. You are where the next honest step can be taken. The map can show 1,000 places. Your feet can touch only one. This is not a limitation. It is the beginning of orientation. You do not need to solve the whole journey from a distance. You need enough contact with the present to recognize what is possible from here. From here. Not from the life you expected to have by now. Not from the person you were 5 years ago. Not from the version of you who never became tired. Not from the future in which every problem has already been healed. From here. Self-trust begins in reality. It does not ask you to pretend that fear is gone. It does not ask you to imagine resources you do not have. It does not ask you to ignore responsibilities, safety, health, money, family, or consequences. It asks you to stop using reality as evidence that you have no voice inside it. You may not control the whole landscape. You still have a relationship with the next step. Even when options are limited, the way you meet yourself matters. You can tell the truth about the limitation. You can ask for help without shame. You can protect your energy where possible. You can stop calling endurance a personal failure. You can refuse to turn a difficult season into a definition of who you are. You can recognize that surviving a narrow road does not mean you must live there forever. The map with no visible X has frustrated you because you assumed the mark had been forgotten. You thought someone failed to tell you where you belonged. You thought life had misplaced you. You thought other people received coordinates that were denied to you. You thought the searching proved you were lost. Look again. Not at the distant roads, not at the destination names, not at the handwriting in the margins. Look at the place where the map is being held. Look at the ground beneath the person reading it. The X was never missing. It was never waiting at the end of the road. It was under your feet the whole walk. The mark moved because you moved. Every time you stopped and searched far away, the answer remained close enough to stand on. You were asking the map to tell you where you were while your life had been telling you through every breath, every limit, every longing, every pattern, and every honest discomfort. You were never outside the journey. You were never disqualified from beginning. You were never required to arrive somewhere else before your position became real. This is why the searching felt like distance. Each time you asked the whole world where to begin, you stepped away from the one place beginning was possible. Here. The ground beneath you may not be the ground you wanted. It may contain grief. It may contain unfinished responsibilities. It may contain choices made from fear, years that cannot be returned, promises that need to be reconsidered, or relationships that require new truth. Standing here does not mean approving of everything that happened. It means ending the argument with the fact that this is where the next step must start. You cannot begin from an imagined past. You cannot begin from another person's life. You cannot begin from the destination. You begin where your feet are. There is tenderness in this recognition. You do not have to chase yourself down the road. You have arrived at the only meeting place that has ever been available, the present. The map rests in your hands. The old instructions remain visible, but they no longer have the final word. The roads remain uncertain, but uncertainty no longer means there is no direction. Now that you know where the X is, a smaller question appears. Not, where should my whole life go? Not, how do I make sure nothing goes wrong? Not, which road will everyone understand? The question is quieter. What is the next step that does not require you to leave yourself behind? Do not answer yet. The answer may be closer than the mind expects, and in the next part of this journey, you will learn how to hear it without forcing it. Hearing it begins by reducing the size of the question. The mind asks for the whole route because the whole route can remain theoretical. A life plan can be revised forever. A 5-year vision can be polished without requiring one honest conversation today. A perfect destination can keep you busy while the ground beneath you waits. The next step is different. It is close enough to reveal you. It may ask you to send the message, make the appointment, close the tab, rest before finishing, speak without over-explaining, or admit that the answer you keep requesting has not changed. It may be small enough that no one else notices, yet you notice because the step either includes you or leaves you behind. This is how inner direction becomes clearer, not through pressure, through proximity. Ask what belongs to this day. Ask what can be known from where you are standing. Ask what truth remains after the imagined audience leaves. You may find that your mind immediately offers a list of consequences. It tells you what could happen if you speak. It shows you every person who may misunderstand. It predicts the discomfort of changing a familiar arrangement. It may even use wisdom against you. Be patient. Do not act emotionally. Think of everyone involved. Give it more time. These can be wise instructions. They can also become hiding places. Patience is not the same as endless postponement. Reflection is not the same as self-doubt. Considering other people is not the same as removing yourself. Giving something time is not the same as giving it your entire life. The difference is found in what the waiting creates. Healthy waiting gathers clarity. It helps the body settle. It makes room for facts. It lets emotion move without demanding immediate action. When waiting is serving you, even uncertainty begins to feel more spacious. Avoidant waiting creates another circle. The same question returns in the same form. You consult the same fears. You rehearse the same explanations. You call the repetition preparation, but nothing new enters. You can learn to recognize this without attacking yourself. Say, I have gathered enough for today. Say, I do not need to predict every reaction. Say, one respectful step is enough. A step does not have to be irreversible, to be honest. You can ask a question before making a decision. You can request time before agreeing. You can gather information without promising a result. You can test a new routine. You can reduce contact. You can speak to someone qualified. You can write what you feel and keep it private until you are Rashford. Sadie, you can say, I am not sure yet. Uncertainty spoken honestly is more trustworthy than certainty performed for approval. You may worry that saying, I do not know, will make you appear weak. Yet an honest, I do not know, can be the first place from which real knowing grows. False certainty blocks information. Honest uncertainty remains open. There is strength in leaving a question uncovered. You do not have to decorate it with confidence. You do not have to make it easier for other people to hear. You do not have to answer before the answer has formed. Self-trust includes the right to pause. It also includes the right to stop pausing when the pause has become a prison. This balance cannot be reduced to one rule. That is why borrowed instructions eventually fail. One person tells you always to wait. Another tells you always to act. One says, follow your heart. Another says, ignore emotion. One says, never quit. Another says, leave at the first sign of discomfort. Absolute advice is attractive because it removes discernment. Discernment is quieter. It asks you to meet this situation, this pattern, this body, this history, and this moment. It cannot be copied exactly from another life. The map can show roads. It cannot walk them for you. This is not punishment. It is participation. Your life is asking for your presence, not your perfection. Presence means noticing what is happening without rushing to turn it into a judgment about who you are. You can feel afraid without concluding that you are incapable. You can make a mistake without concluding that you are untrustworthy. You can need support without concluding that you cannot lead your own life. The person who trusts themselves is not the person who never needs anyone. Self-trust and support belong together. When you trust yourself, you become more thoughtful about whose guidance you receive. You stop asking every available voice. You begin asking whether the person understands the terrain, respects your autonomy, and can hold complexity without deciding for you. Good guidance does not make you smaller. It returns you to your own participation. A trustworthy friend may say, I hear what you are saying. What do you feel when you imagine each choice? A skilled professional may help you notice patterns, risks, resources, and needs that fear has blurred. A caring community may remind you that you are not the only person who has stood at this crossing. Support can offer light. It should not erase the person holding the map. There are people whose certainty feels powerful because you are tired. They may tell you exactly what to do. They may speak as though hesitation is failure. Their confidence may bring temporary relief. Ask what happens inside you after receiving their answer. Do you feel more connected to your own life? Or do you feel as though you have handed them the responsibility for what comes next? Advice that require, as you to silence yourself, is too expensive. This does not mean the advice is wrong. It means the way you are using it may remove you from the choice. Even correct guidance must be integrated by the person who will live it. You have the right to ask, does this fit my actual circumstances? Does this respect my safety? Does this account for what I know? Does this help me become more honest? Does this require me to betray a clear limit? The answer may not arrive as a loud yes or no. At times, it arrives as a decrease in inner argument. One direction requires endless justification. Another feels frightening but clean. One direction asks you to explain away every pattern. Another asks you to admit what has been repeating. One direction preserves appearances. Another preserves your ability to breathe. Clean does not always mean easy. A clear boundary may bring grief. An honest conversation may shake a relationship. A necessary ending may create uncertainty. A meaningful beginning may expose you to judgment. The step can be right for you and still have a cost. This is where old self-doubt often returns. If this hurts, I must be wrong. If they are upset, I must have been cruel. If I feel lonely, I should go back. If I am afraid, I should wait. Pain is information, but it is not always instruction. Grief can accompany a healthy choice because something is ending. Fear can accompany growth because the new road is unfamiliar. Guilt can appear after a boundary because your nervous system learned that other people's comfort was your responsibility. Loneliness can appear after leaving a harmful pattern because familiarity has been removed before new connection has formed. You do not need to obey every uncomfortable feeling. You can listen without surrendering direction. Imagine standing at a crossing with the map open. One road is familiar. You know every bend. You know where the ground becomes uneven. You know the places where you must make yourself smaller to pass. You know how tired you feel when you arrive. Another road is less familiar. You cannot see far. There may be practical questions, risks, and preparations that deserve attention. You do not need to romanticize it. Self-trust does not say, take the unknown road because unknown is always better. It says, tell the truth about both roads. Do not call the familiar road safe only because you recognize it. Do not call the unknown road dangerous only because you have not walked it. Look at the actual conditions. Look at the pattern. Look at the resources available. Look at the consequences. Look at what each direction asks you to become. Then remember that no map can remove all uncertainty. At some point, living begins. You place one foot down. You discover the ground through contact. This is the answer to the first question planted at the beginning. The place you had not thought to examine was never a hidden destination. It was the living ground of you, our own experience. The searching became distance each time you treated your starting point as somewhere outside yourself. You were not lost because the X was missing. You felt lost because you kept expecting the X to be ahead of you. The mark was beneath you. It was beneath you when you stayed. It was beneath you when you left. It was beneath you when you chose from fear. It was beneath you when you chose from love. It was beneath you when you ignored your knowing and when you finally listened. Every moment gave you a location from which to begin again. That is the mercy of the moving X. You do not lose the right to orient yourself because yesterday's step was painful. You do not have to return to the beginning of your whole life. You begin from here. The map changes because you change. Your knowledge changes. Your needs change. Your capacity changes. A route that once helped you may no longer fit. A destination that once mattered may no longer call you. This is not betrayal. It is movement. You are allowed to read the map again. You are allowed to erase a note that was written in fear. You are allowed to question a route inherited from people you love. You are allowed to say that the road everyone admires is not your road. You are allowed to choose a slower path. You are allowed to ask for companionship. You are allowed to turn around. You are allowed to stop proving that you can endure what is diminishing you. This does not make every impulse sacred. It makes your participation necessary. You still use wisdom. You still consider impact. You still protect what must be protected. You still take responsibility for your words and actions. Self-trust is not permission to act carelessly and call every desire truth. It is the practice of becoming honest enough to distinguish desire, fear, urgency, habit, and inner knowing. That distinction becomes clearer with time. Urgency often shouts that a decision must happen now or everything will be lost. Fear predicts humiliation, abandonment, catastrophe, or regret. Habit reaches automatically for what is familiar. Desire moves toward an experience, connection, expression, or possibility. Inner knowing may be the quietest. It does not always explain itself. It may say, not this. It may say, enough. It may say, ask. It may say, rest. It may say, try once. It may say, you already know. You do not need to make inner knowing mystical. Sometimes it is the result of patterns your conscious mind has not yet organized into words. Sometimes it is your values recognizing what fits. Sometimes it is your body responding to repeated experience. Sometimes it is a truth you have been avoiding because acting on it would change the arrangement. Inner knowing can also be affected by trauma, anxiety, exhaustion, depression, stress, or past conditioning. This is why trust includes curiosity rather than blind obedience. Ask, is this voice protecting me from present danger, or remember, ring old danger? Ask, what evidence supports this feeling? Ask, what pattern have I observed? Ask, what would help me feel safer while I gather clarity? You are not required to solve the distinction alone. There is wisdom in reaching toward trusted friends, community support groups, spiritual care, medical care, mental health care, legal guidance, financial guidance, or other qualified help when the situation calls for it. An affirmation can support your well-being and help you relate to yourself with kindness, but it is not a replacement for appropriate professional care. Seeking help does not remove your authority. It can be one way you exercise it. Self-trust may say, this is larger than what I can hold by myself. Self-trust may say, I need information from someone trained in this area. Self-trust may say, I am not safe here. Self-trust may say, I need a plan before I leave. Self-trust may say, I need someone beside me while I take the next step. Peace does not mean remaining where you are being harmed. Compassion does not require access. Forgiveness does not require contact. Spiritual practice does not ask you to deny danger, abuse, coercion, manipulation, illness, or practical risk. Boundaries can be an expression of love, especially the love that refuses to cooperate with harm. You are permitted to protect your body. You are permitted to protect your mind. You are permitted to protect your finances, time, home, work, children, privacy, and future. You are permitted to seek a safe exit. You are permitted to take the path in stages. A map is not less courageous because it includes shelters. A journey is not less meaningful because you ask for directions from someone who knows the terrain. Trust is not isolation. It is the refusal to disappear from your own decisions. Let that sentence settle. You do not have to know everything. You must not be excluded from what concerns your life. For some people, this idea brings relief. For others, it brings resistance. A part of you may say, I trusted myself before and it went badly. Let us meet that part without argument. You trusted someone who was not truthful. You took an opportunity that did not become what you hoped. You stayed too long. You left too soon. You ignored advice. You followed advice. You acted from loneliness. You waited from fear. You believed a promise. You doubted a good thing. You may carry real regret. Trust does not require you to rename every mistake as a blessing. Some choices have consequences that deserve honest grief. Some actions require repair. Some patterns need accountability. Compassion is not a way to avoid responsibility, but punishment is not the same as responsibility. Responsibility asks, What happened? What was my part? What have I learned? And what can I do now? Punishment says, this proves I should never trust myself again. One creates movement, the other takes the map away. You do not too. Each a person to walk by condemning every stumble. You do not create discernment by refusing every future choice. You learn by examining what you knew, what you ignored, what you could not have known, and what support was missing. Sometimes you did know, and you went against yourself. Be honest without cruelty. You may have seen the pattern and hoped love would change it. You may have felt the limit and crossed it to avoid disappointing someone. You may have heard the no and said yes, because being wanted felt more urgent than being safe. The lesson is not, I cannot trust myself. The lesson may be, I need to respond sooner when I hear myself. There is a difference. It returns power without erasing pain. Other times you could not have known. Someone hid information. Circumstances changed. A promise was broken. A plan failed despite thoughtful preparation. The lesson is not, I should have predicted everything. The lesson may be, I can meet new information without turning against myself. This is a deeper kind of trust. Not trust in your ability to control the road, trust in your willingness to remain present when the road changes. Now the central affirmation can be spoken. Do not force belief. Let the words sit beside you. I trust myself to begin from where I am. Say it again with less pressure. I trust myself to begin from where I am. The word you may resist is trust. You may associate trust with certainty, innocence, or lowering your guard. You may hear the sentence and think, but I do not trust myself. That response is welcome. The affirmation is not a claim that you have never doubted yourself. It is not a demand that fear vanish. It is a direction of relationship. One more time, more softly. I trust myself to begin from where I am. Beginning from where you are means you do not pretend. You do not pretend the wound is healed when it still needs care. You do not pretend a relationship is safe because you wish it were. You do not pretend you feel ready. You do not pretend you have more energy, time, money, or support than you have. You do not pretend the road is easy. You tell the truth about the ground, and then you ask what step the truth supports. That is trust. If the full affirmation feels too far away, do not use it as another reason to judge yourself. Say only, I am willing to listen to myself before I ask the world. You do not need to believe more than that. Willingness creates an opening. Before sending the question to 5 people, you pause and write your own answer. Before explaining the boundary, you name it privately. Before searching for signs, you ask what you have already observed. Before calling yourself confused, you separate what you know from what you fear. You may still ask the world. The order changes. You hear yourself first. Then advice becomes information rather than calm and. try the fallback line again. I am willing to listen to myself before I ask the world. You may feel emotion rise around these words. There may be grief for all the times you were not heard, including the times you stopped hearing yourself. Do not turn that grief into blame. You adapted, you survived, you kept moving with the map available to you. Now another way is becoming possible. You can place your own handwriting in the margin. You can write, "Pause here. Ask what is true." Do not rush because someone is impatient. Take support. Rest is part of the route. Turn back if the road becomes harmful. Begin from where your feet are. These are not commandments. They are reminders of relationship. Self-trust is built through small evidence. Each time you say no and remain kind to yourself afterward, you create evidence. Each time you ask for help before collapse, you create evidence. Each time you admit a mistake without becoming your enemy, you create evidence. Each time you let new information change your route, you create evidence. Each time you keep one promise that no one else sees, you create evidence. The evidence gathers slowly. Then one day you face a choice and realize you no longer need every voice. You still care. You still think. You still seek wisdom. But the crowd is no longer standing between you and the ground. There is one more word on the map that deserves attention. You have often treated it as proof that you failed. The word is detour. You may believe a detour means you missed your real life. You may look at lost time, changed plans, interrupted relationships, delayed dreams, or years spent surviving and conclude that you are far behind. We will return to the detour later. For now, know this: a changed route does not erase your location. The X remains beneath your feet. You are still here. You can still listen. You can still choose the next honest step. That step does not need to prove the entire journey. It needs only to be honest enough that you can feel yourself inside it. You may still be tempted to measure the step by how impressive it looks. The mind loves visible change. It wants the announcement, the departure, the new beginning everyone can see. It wants evidence that something important has happened. But self-trust is often rebuilt through actions too private to impress anyone. You decide not to answer while you are upset. You stop rewriting the message after it already says what you mean. You admit that you need more time. You choose not to explain a preference that harms no one. You make the appointment you have postponed. You ask one clear question instead of creating 10 imagined answers. You take your own discomfort seriously before it becomes a crisis. You keep a promise to rest. You step away from a conversation that has stopped being respectful. You return to the task after making a mistake instead of abandoning the whole effort. These moments do not look dramatic. They are still changes in direction. Every time you respond to yourself with respect, you place a new mark on the map, not an X that fixes you permanently in one place, a small sign that says, I was here and I listened. Over time, these signs become a route. You begin to remember the evening when you did not send the reply you would have regretted. You remember the day you asked for clarification instead of assuming rejection. You remember the morning you admitted that exhaustion was not laziness. You remember the conversation in which your voice shook and you still completed the sentence. You remember the choice that did not work out and how you met yourself afterward without turning one outcome into a lifelong sentence. This is how trust becomes real. Not through a single declaration, through a history of return. You return to your body after living in imagined reactions. You return to the present after traveling through every possible future. You return to your own words after borrowing the language of people who do not know the whole story. You return to the ground beneath your feet. There will still be days when you forget. A strong reaction may pull you back into an old route. You may hear disappointment in someone's voice and begin explaining. You may receive no reply and immediately search for what you did wrong. You may face a difficult choice and ask everyone else before asking yourself. Do not turn forgetting into failure. The map can be reopened. The route can be read again. Self-trust does not disappear because you reached for an old protection. A familiar response may happen before your new practice has time to speak. When you recognize it, the recognition itself is part of the new way. You can pause in the middle of over-explaining. You can say, I want to begin that again. You can change a yes into a thoughtful no. You can correct an assumption. You can ask to return to the conversation later. You can discover halfway down a road that it is not yours. This brings us back to the word you may have used against yourself, detour. You may look at certain years and call them wasted. You may think of the work that did not lead where you expected, the relationship that ended, the move that did not become home, the opportunity you missed, the course you changed, the promise you believed, or the season when survival used all the energy you had. You may imagine a straighter map, a version of your life in which you recognized every wrong turn early, a version in which you had better support, clearer information, stronger boundaries, more money, more courage, more time, or less fear. That imagined map has smooth lines. It does not show the person you were trying to protect. It does not show what you understood then. It does not show the needs you were carrying, the options you could not see, or the strength that had not yet been practiced. It is easy to judge an old route from a place that old route helped you reach. You know more now. That is not evidence that the earlier you was foolish. It is evidence that experience taught you. Some detours were chosen because you did not trust yourself. Some were created by circumstances beyond your control. Some protected you from a road you were not ready to travel. Some introduced you to people, skills, grief, strength, and understanding that became part of the person standing here. You do not have to call every painful season a gift. Pain does not need to be romanticized to have taught you something. You can wish it had been different. You can grieve the time. You can hold people accountable. You can admit that a choice harmed you. You can still refuse to use that history as proof that your life has been ruined. A detour changes the route. It does not remove your right to move. Look at the map again. The line you expected to follow may have broken. The road may have curved around loss, illness, responsibility, fear, betrayal, or delay. You may be standing far from the destination you once named, but the X is still beneath your feet. The present has not rejected you because the route changed. You are not required to return to an earlier version of the plan before your next step becomes valid. This is important because many people spend their present trying to repair the shape of the past. They believe they must catch up. They rush into decisions because time feels stolen. They compare their beginning with someone else's middle. They treat rest as another delay. They choose from panic because the calendar has become an accusation. You may have said, "By now I should have. By now I should have known. By now I should have healed. By now I should have found the right work. By now I should have become financially secure. By now I should have a relationship that feels safe. By now I should no longer be affected by what happened. By now I should be farther down the road." The phrase "by now" often hides an invisible map drawn by comparison. It may come from family expectations, cultural timelines, old promises, social media, or a younger self who could not imagine the conditions you would face. That map is not useless. It reveals what mattered to you. But it is not a judge. A timeline cannot know the weight you carried. It cannot know how much energy was spent enduring, caring for others, recovering, beginning again, or learning what no one taught you. It cannot measure private courage. You are permitted to redraw the route around the life that actually happened. You are permitted to begin late according to someone else's calendar. You are permitted to change what the destination means. You are permitted to discover that what you once wanted was a symbol for something deeper. You wanted success because you wanted safety. You wanted recognition because you wanted to feel seen. You wanted a relationship and because you wanted belonging. You wanted control because you wanted peace. You wanted certainty because you were tired of bracing. The symbol may change while the deeper need remains worthy. You can seek safety without choosing a life that empties you. You can seek belonging without begging to be included. You can seek peace without controlling every turn. You can seek meaningful work without forcing one title to hold your entire identity. You can seek love while learning that love must include respect. The destination becomes more truthful when you understand what you were trying to feel there. Then the road opens. You no longer need one exact outcome to prove that your life has meaning. You begin to see more than one possible route toward steadiness, connection, expression, contribution, or freedom. The map becomes less like a test and more like a conversation. What is possible from here? What support would make the next step safer? Which direction matches the person you are now? What are you willing to stop carrying? What matters enough to move toward slowly? The answer may be modest. You may need to organize one document. Ask one person for help. Take 1 hour without interruption. Set one date. Name one limit. Learn one skill. Tell one truth. Self-trust does not despise small beginnings. A small beginning can be more honest than a dramatic escape. The dramatic choice may be real, but it must not be used to avoid the slower work of becoming someone who can remain present with their own life. You can change the outside and still carry the same map inside. You can leave one relationship and repeat the role elsewhere. You can change work and continue proving your worth through exhaustion. You can move to a new place and keep asking old voices for permission. You can create a fresh beginning and still distrust every desire that appears. This is why the journey is not only about where you go, it is about who is permitted to read the map. For a long time, fear may have read it first. Fear circled every danger. Fear enlarged every uncertainty. Fear erased roads it could not predict. Fear marked other people's disappointment as an emergency. Fear was trying to protect you. It does not have to be removed from the journey. It needs a different role. Fear can point out what deserves preparation. It can remind you to gather information. It can show you where support is needed. It can ask whether the road is safe. But fear does not decide what your life is for. Let wisdom read the map too. Wisdom has a quieter voice. Wisdom remembers patterns. Wisdom respects facts. Wisdom knows the difference between discomfort and harm. Wisdom does not rush to prove courage. Wisdom does not remain forever to prove loyalty. Wisdom can ask for help. Wisdom can turn around without humiliation. Wisdom can admit that the road looked different from a distance. You do not have to choose between fear and wisdom as though one must disappear. You can say, "Fear, I hear what you are showing me. Wisdom, help me decide what it means." This inner conversation is self-trust, not one voice dominating. A deeper part of you listening to all the information and choosing with care. You may ask how you will know when that deeper part is speaking. There is no perfect formula, but there are signs. The choice may still be difficult, yet you feel less divided after naming it. You may feel grief, but the grief is not asking you to lie. You may feel fear, but beneath the fear, there is a quiet sense of direction. You may not feel excited, but you stop needing to invent reasons. You may still want reassurance, but you no longer want someone else to take over. You may feel the body release one small measure of resistance when the truth is spoken plainly. The answer can be quiet because it does not need to defeat you. Inner knowing does not always argue. It waits beneath the noise. It repeats, not this. Ask. Rest. Enough. Try. Speak. Wait one day. Take support. Begin here. You may resist the simplicity because a simple answer does not remove the work. Ask still requires vulnerability. Rest still requires you to disappoint the part that measures worth through output. Enough may require a boundary. Try may expose you to failure. Begin here may require accepting that the imagined starting point is gone. Yet simple does not mean shallow. A compass uses very little language. Direction does not need a speech. This is why tomorrow matters. Not because tomorrow will transform everything in one day. Not because you must wake as a fearless person. Tomorrow gives the next step a place to live. You do not have to carry the whole journey into the next morning. You need one point of contact between your inner truth and your outer life. Before the day gathers other voices, you can ask, what do I know from where I stand? What is one step that includes me? You may write the answer. You may say it quietly. You may carry it while preparing for the day. The answer could be, I need to slow down before I agree. It could be, I need to stop reading silence as a verdict. It could be, I need to speak with someone I trust. It could be, I need to take the practical first step. It could be, I need to stop asking this person for what they have repeatedly refused to give. It could be, I need to continue even though the result is not immediate. It could be, I need to protect this hour. It could be, I need more information. It could be, I need to admit that I already have enough information. The next step is not always action. It may be restraint. It may be waiting without searching. It may be gathering resources. It may be resting before deciding. It may be removing one unnecessary pressure. The step is defined by honesty, not speed. Do not make tomorrow another dead line. Let it become a meeting place. You and your own life meeting on the ground that is actually there. This is where the vow belongs. A vow is not a guarantee that you will never forget. It is not a demand for perfect courage. It is a direction you can return to when the map becomes crowded with other people's handwriting. Speak it in the first person. Let every word come from this journey. I will walk from the ground beneath my feet, and follow the direction that becomes clear. Say it once without trying to make it powerful. I will walk from the ground beneath my feet and follow the direction that becomes clear. The vow does not say that the entire road must become clear. It does not say you will walk without fear. It does not say you will never ask for guidance. It says you will begin in contact with reality. It says you will not demand the destination before honoring the next direction. It says clarity may arrive through movement. Some direction becomes visible only after the first step. You cannot see around every bend from where you stand. The road is not withholding information to punish you. It is shaped in a way that reveals itself through approach. A conversation cannot show you its next sentence until the first honest sentence has been spoken. A new routine cannot prove its value before it has been practiced. A boundary cannot reveal the truth of a relationship before it has been expressed. A request cannot receive an answer before it is made. An application cannot open a possibility while it remains unfinished. A life cannot meet the version of you who never arrives. This does not mean acting without preparation. It means understanding that preparation has a natural end. At some point, the foot meets the road. Your vow can guide that moment. I will walk from the ground beneath my feet and follow the direction that becomes clear. You may not believe the whole sentence yet. Use only the part that feels possible. I will walk from the ground beneath my feet. Or, I am willing to begin where I am. Or, I can take one honest step. Trust does not grow through language that overwhelms you. Choose the sentence your nervous system can receive. Then let the body become part of the map. You have spent long periods living above the neck, trying to think your way into safety. Bring your attention down from the imagined future and back into the present form carrying you. Let the forehead loosen. It has been holding questions that do not need answers this minute. Let the muscles around the eyes rest from searching for signs. You do not need to read every face. Let the jaw release the conversations you rehearsed but never had. Your truth does not become more valid through tension. Give the throat a little room. There may be words forming there. They do not have to be spoken before they are ready. Let the shoulders lower from the work of carrying every possible outcome. You were never meant to hold the whole map in muscle. Let the chest make space for more than one feeling. Fear and hope can travel together. Grief and direction can share the same road. Let the hands unclench. They do not need to grip every plan. They can hold what belongs to today. Let the stomach soften around the uncertainty. Not all uncertainty is danger. Some of it is the open space before new information arrives. Let the back remember that support exists. A trusted person, a qualified professional, a community, a practice, a structure, or a plan can stand beside you without walking in your place. Let the hips settle into the chair, the bed, or the ground beneath you. You are located. You are not floating outside your life. Let the legs feel their quiet strength. They have carried you through roads you once thought you could not survive. Let the feet make contact. The X is here, not as a command, as a fact. This is where you are. This is where the next direction can meet you. Carry this contact into tomorrow, before the phone, before the opinions, before the old list of everything you should have become. Feel the ground. Ask the smaller question. What is one step that does not require me to leave myself behind? The answer may arrive immediately. It may form later. You do not have to chase it. Your task is not to force direction. Your practice is to remain available to it. When the day becomes loud, return to the feet. When someone reacts, return to the facts. When the mind predicts every ending, return to the step. When comparison tells you that you are late, return to your actual location. When regret redraws the past, return to what can be chosen now. This is how the map becomes usable. You stop trying to stand everywhere at once. You stop living at the destination before you have crossed the first mile. You stop asking an old road to become new through hope alone. You stop treating every detour as proof that you have failed. You begin here. You listen here. You choose here. Now let the affirmations come like marks placed along a path, each one close enough to follow. I trust myself to begin from where I am. I can listen before I ask the world. My experience belongs in my decisions. I can pause without disappearing. I can move without knowing the whole route. I can seek guidance and remain the author of my life. I can change direction when new truth appears. I can learn without humiliating myself. I can feel fear without giving fear the map. I can respect the past without repeating it. I can grieve a detour and still continue. I am not late to my own ground. I do not need another person's timeline. I can choose one honest step. I can tell the truth about both roads. I can ask for support. I can protect what matters. I can let a boundary become direction. I can leave what is harmful. I can remain open to what is safe. I can take time when time brings clarity. I can stop waiting when waiting becomes a circle. I can listen to the quiet answer. I can begin again without returning to the beginning. The X is beneath my feet. All. My life is not missing me. My direction can become clear in motion. I do not need to see every bend. I do not need to earn a starting place. I begin where I am. I walk with myself. One honest step. It can become a new direction before it becomes a visible result. This is easy to forget when the world measures movement by what can be announced. A new title, a new relationship, a new address, a finished project, a clear decision. A photograph taken after the hardest part has already passed. The inner turn comes first. Long before anyone sees the change, you stop arguing with one truth. You stop calling exhaustion a lack of discipline. You stop calling repeated disrespect a misunderstanding. You stop calling fear a prophecy. You stop calling someone else's comfort your responsibility. You stop calling a detour the end of the road. The outside of your life may look the same for a while. You may wake in the same room, meet the same responsibilities, answer the same questions, and move through the same familiar streets. Yet the relationship between you and the ground has changed. You are no longer waiting for another person to confirm that you are standing somewhere real. You are here. You are no longer waiting for the past to become different before you begin. You begin here. You are no longer asking the destination to send certainty backward through the road. You take the step available now. This is what the detour was waiting to teach you. A detour is not always a road that leads away from life. Sometimes it is the place where you learn how to read the map for yourself. You learn that speed cannot choose for you. You learn that approval cannot riant you. You learn that a familiar road can still be wrong for your present life. You learn that a changed plan does not mean you have become unreliable. You learn that grief can walk beside wisdom. You learn that the person you were deserves understanding, not endless prosecution. You learn that no destination can give you the relationship with yourself that you refuse to practice along the way. The years you call lost may contain evidence you have not yet counted. You learned what it feels like to override a clear limit. You learned what happens when hope is asked to replace a pattern. You learned how your body speaks when a situation is no longer sustainable. You learned which people offer advice that strengthens you and which people offer certainty that silences you. You learned that being needed is not the same as being loved. You learned that intensity is not always intimacy. You learned that productivity is not always purpose. You learned that endurance is not always devotion. You learned that peace may feel unfamiliar before it feels safe. These lessons do not make the pain necessary. They make the pain no longer useless. You are not required to be grateful for what wounded you. You can be grateful for the part of you that kept gathering truth. Even when you were not ready to act, some part of you was recording what happened. It remembered the promise that kept changing. It remembered how your energy disappeared after certain conversations. It remembered the difference between words and behavior. It remembered the moment you felt relief when you imagined another way. It remembered every time you said, "This cannot continue," even when you continued for a while longer. The inner voice did not fail because you did not follow it immediately. Sometimes knowing comes before capacity. You can recognize the truth before you have the money, support, safety, energy, information, or readiness to respond. This gap can be painful. You may judge yourself for remaining after you understood. Do not confuse delayed action with absent wisdom. There are roads that must be left carefully. There are changes that require preparation. There are truths that need support around them before they can be lived safely. The fact that you could not move then does not mean you did not know. It may mean you were gathering what movement required. Now, from where you are, you can ask a more compassionate question. What has become possible that was not possible before? Perhaps you have more language. Perhaps you have one trusted person. Perhaps you have access to help. Perhaps you understand the pattern. Perhaps your body no longer agrees to carry what it once carried silently. Perhaps you are tired in a way that has become clarifying. Perhaps the old explanation no longer works. Perhaps the next step is still small. Small does not mean meaningless. A person can change the direction of a life by refusing one automatic answer. Not today. I need time. That does not work for me. Please speak to me respectfully. I need support. I have changed my mind. I am going to think before I reply. I cannot continue in this way. I am ready to try. Each sentence places a foot on a different road. You do not need to know where every sentence leads. You need to know whether it carries you farther into truth or farther away from yourself. This is your orientation, not perfection, not certainty, relationship. You are learning how to stand with yourself before you move, while you move, and after the result arrives. If the result is beautiful, you receive it without claiming that perfect thinking created it. If the result is disappointing, you meet the disappointment without using it as evidence that you should never choose again. If new information appears, you respond. If repair is needed, you repair. If rest is needed, you rest. If the road closes, you look again from where your feet now stand. The X moves with you. This means you cannot be permanently separated from the starting place. Every present moment offers another point of orientation. You can wake tomorrow and return. You can lose confidence by noon and return. You can hear criticism, feel the old doubt rise, and return. You can make a choice, question it, gather information, and return. You can take a wrong turn and return. Returning does not always mean going backward. It means coming back into contact with yourself. You may have believed that returning to yourself should feel grand. It may feel ordinary. You drink water before answering. You sleep before deciding. You check the facts. You write down what happened. You ask whether this is a pattern or one difficult moment. You separate your responsibility from someone else's. You speak to a person who respects both your safety and your agency. You remember that urgency narrows the map. You create enough space to see another road. This is how tomorrow begins differently. Not through a promise that you will never doubt yourself again. Through a decision that doubt will no longer be the only voice consulted. Tomorrow, doubt may say, wait. You can ask why. Fear may say, they will be disappointed. You can ask whether disappointment equals harm. Habit may say yes quickly. You can pause. Comparison may say, you are behind. You can return to your own location. Regret may say, you wasted too much time. You can ask what is possible with the time that remains. The past may offer information. It does not receive permanent authority over the next step. There is a difference between remembering and obeying. You can remember what happened without assuming it must happen again. You can remember a failure without building your identity around it. You can remember rejection without treating every new relationship as a repetition. You can remember instability without using every possibility. You can remember what it costs to ignore yourself and use that memory as direction rather than punishment. The map contains old roads. You choose whether they remain active. Some roads deserve to be crossed out. Some deserve a warning in the margin. Some can be visited with new boundaries. Some remain important because they lead to people and places you love. Some roads were never yours. You traveled them because someone handed you the route before you knew you could question it. You may feel anger as you see this. Anger can be part of orientation. It can reveal where your limits were crossed. It can return energy to a person who has spent years explaining everything away. Anger does not need to become harm. It can become information, protection, and the strength to speak clearly. You may feel sadness. Sadness can mark what mattered. It can honor the life you hoped for, the years you spent waiting, or the version of someone you wanted to believe. Sadness does not always ask you to return. Sometimes it asks you to stop pretending the loss was small. You may feel relief. Relief is not cruelty. It may be the body recognizing that a burden has been named. You may feel nothing at first. Numbness can be a form of protection. You do not have to force feeling to prove that you care. Whatever appears, let it become part of the information without making it the whole map. You are larger than one reaction. You are allowed to take time. You are allowed to seek care. You are allowed to move in stages. You are allowed to protect yourself while clarity develops. There is no prize for making a difficult choice without support. There is no spiritual achievement in remaining where you are being harmed. There is no failure in needing a qualified person to help you understand the terrain. A strong journey includes resources. It includes places to rest. It includes people who know the roads you have not traveled. It includes boundaries around those who try to seize the map. It includes compassion for the person walking. You are the person walking, not the audience, not the old critic, not the imagined future version who is never afraid. You, the person breathing now. The person who knows what this season has cost. The person who may not know the whole route, but knows enough to stop abandoning the present. Tomorrow, begin there. Before asking what will impress people, ask what will include you. Before asking how quickly you can arrive, ask whether the direction is true. Before asking whether you can guarantee success, ask whether you can offer yourself honesty. Before asking what everyone else would do, ask what you have already observed. Then listen. The answer may not be a sentence. It may be the desire to wait before replying. It may be the impulse to open the document and begin. It may be a sense that you need another conversation. It may be the recognition that you have already had enough conversations. It may be the wish to ask for help. It may be the quiet refusal to keep performing agreement. You do not have to act on every feeling. You can treat the feeling as a request for attention. You can ask what it is pointing toward. You can check it against reality, safety, values, patterns, and available support. This is how self-trust becomes mature. It is neither blind impulse nor endless hesitation. It is a relationship between inner experience and outer truth. You consider both. You abandon neither. There will be moments when no option feels completely right. Two roads may both contain loss. You may have to choose which cost you are willing and able to carry. This is one of the hardest parts of adulthood. Some decisions do not offer a painless route. Self-trust does not pretend otherwise. It says, I can choose with care and remain compassionate toward the part of me that grieves what was not possible. You may choose rest and grieve the opportunity. You may choose the opportunity and grieve the rest. You may choose distance and grieve the closeness. You may choose closeness with boundaries and grieve what the relationship cannot become. You may choose stability and grieve adventure. You may choose change and grieve familiarity. Grief does not automatically invalidate the choice. It confirms that something mattered. You can hold what mattered and continue. This is how the detour closes. Not by returning you to the road you originally planned, by showing you that the road beneath you is real enough to begin from. You do not need to restore the old map. You need to read the living ground. The living ground says, this is what happened. This is what I know now. This is what I need. This is what I can do. This is where support is required. This is the step available today. There is freedom in a map that does not pretend to know everything. Blank space is not always absence. It can be room for your own experience. The roads that are not drawn yet may appear through walking. The destination may change its name. You may discover that what you wanted was not a place, but a way of being. To feel safe enough to speak, to feel free enough to rest, to feel worthy without performing, to feel connected without disappearing, to feel guided without being controlled, to feel at home inside your own choices. These are not destinations reached once. They are ways of walking. You practice them on ordinary days. You practice when the answer is easy and when it is not. You practice by hearing your no before resentment has to shout. You practice by hearing your yes before fear buries it beneath reasons. You practice by admitting when you do not know. You practice by changing direction without making yourself ridiculous. You practice by asking for help before the road becomes unbearable. You practice by letting your own life count as evidence. You do not need to wait for complete confidence. Confidence is often memory. It is the memory of having met yourself before. You build that memory now. One pause, one question, one boundary, one attempt, one honest step. Then another day gives you another place to practice. The road becomes yours through participation, not possession. You cannot own every result. You can inhabit your choices. You can say, I was present when this decision was made. You can say, I did not know everything, but I did not exclude myself. You can say, I listened to advice, checked the facts, respected safety, and heard my own experience. You can say, when new truth appeared, I responded. This is enough to begin building a life that feels inhabited. Now let the remaining affirmations become shorter. Do not work to memorize them. Let one sentence choose you. I trust myself to begin from where I am. I listen inwardly before I search outwardly. I include my experience in my choices. I can pause before I answer. I can ask for the time I need. I can seek help without surrendering my voice. I can receive advice without disappearing inside it. I can tell the difference between support and control. I can respect fear without giving it every decision. I can check the road before I call it safe. I can leave a road that repeatedly harms me. I can take practical steps towards safety. I can change my mind when truth changes. I can repair without condemning myself. I can learn from what did not work. I can stop using regret as a weapon. I can honor the person I was. I can respond to what I know now. I can let the past become information. I can let the present become my starting place. I do not need the whole route. I need the next honest step. I am allowed to begin slowly. I am allowed to move carefully. I am allowed to ask. I am allowed to wait. I am allowed to choose. I am allowed to revise. I am allowed to return. My pace can be wise. My boundary can be loving. My no can be complete. My yes can be honest. My uncertainty can be spoken. Eds can be named. My life includes me. My voice belongs here. My feet know the ground. The X moves with me. I am not misplaced. I am not disqualified. I am not too late. I can begin here. I can begin now. I can begin again. The road can unfold. Clarity can grow. Support can meet me. Truth can guide me. Fear can soften. Wisdom can speak. I can listen. I can choose. I can walk. Begin from here. Trust this step. Read the ground. Take your time. Tell the truth. Ask for help. Honor your pace. Keep your voice. Choose with care. Walk with yourself. One clear direction. One honest answer. One living step. Begin here. From here. My ground. My voice. My direction. My step. I am here. I can begin. If your attention wandered during these words, nothing important has been lost. You do not need to hold every sentence. You do not need to repeat the entire map to benefit from one true direction. The sentence that belongs to you will remain. It may return tomorrow while you are reaching for your phone. It may return before you agree too quickly. It may return when the old guilt appears. It may return when someone asks what you want. It may return as a pause. That pause is not emptiness. It is where you enter the decision. You may hear, I trust myself to begin from where I am. Or I am willing to listen to myself before I ask the world, or only begin here. Let that be enough. You do not need to use these words to control tomorrow. Let them accompany you. A companion does not drag you down the road. It walks near enough to remind you that you are not facing the crossing alone. You have yourself. You may also have people who care, professionals who can help, communities that understand, and resources you have not yet reached toward. Use what supports life. Release what demands your disappearance. Tomorrow is not a test of whether this message worked. It is another living place on the map. You may wake with doubt. Begin there. You may wake tired. Begin there. You may feel clear. Begin there. You may need more information. Begin there. You may realize the step is smaller than you expected. Take the smaller step. You may realize the step requires support. Reach for support. You may realize that today is for preparation rather than movement. Prepare with honesty. You may realize you have been preparing long enough. Place one foot down. There is no single expression of self-trust. For one person, it is speaking. For another, it is waiting. For one, it is leaving. For another, it is asking whether repair is possible. For one, it is accepting help. For another, it is stopping the search for permission. The question is not whether your step resembles someone else's. The question is whether it respects the truth, safety, responsibilities, values, and reality of the life you are actually living. You do not need to display the answer. Let it become action before it becomes explanation. Some choices grow better without an audience. Protect the beginning. Give it room. Let the next step become steady before inviting every opinion onto the road. When the time comes to speak, speak from contact. Not from a performance of strength. Not from the need to make everyone agree. From the ground. This is what I've decided. This is what I need. This is what I can offer. This is what I cannot continue. This is the support I am seeking. This is the next step I am taking. Your voice may shake. Shaking does not cancel direction. Someone may disagree. Disagreement does not erase your location. You may feel grief afterward. Grief does not mean you have betrayed yourself. Return to the feet. Return to the facts. Return to the map in your own hands. All is well does not mean every road is easy. It means you can meet this moment without declaring yourself lost. You can stand where you are and begin. Before these words close, choose one word for tomorrow, not a plan. One word. It may be trust. It may be pause. It may be truth. It may be support. It may be boundary. It may be begin. It may be another word that has been forming quietly inside you. If sharing feels right, place that one word in the comments. Let it be a small mark on the map, not a promise to perform, a direction you wish to remember. Then carry it without pressure. You do not have to become the word perfectly. You only need to recognize it when the next step appears. The map is open. Your feet are here. Tomorrow does not need your certainty. It needs your first honest step. The road begins beneath you.